This video is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock.
Hello and welcome back to another day in the arena. It's me, it's CGB. Today in the arena, is it a Shark Typhoon deck? Yes! It is an Izzet Shark Typhoon deck. Behold, the blue-red Shark Typhoon Control deck with some spicy cards that maybe you expected, maybe you didn't, probably not. So let's get right into why I think this is actually a pretty cool deck. When you compare it to a blue-black Shark Attack deck like we have done, that deck is probably, well, it looks a lot better, for sure. It has Heartless Act. It has Eliminate. It has cards that just destroy target creature, whereas Red must rely on actually removing it. You know, our version had Didn't Say Please and Drown in the Lock, a counter and a removal in one. We have to deal damage to sources. But there is upside. There is some upside here. For example, Exile, which Scorching Dragonfire's Exile ability is actually very, very relevant. Spikefield Hazard does the same thing, which is a little bit harder for black. Soulseer, target permanent loses indestructible, can also go straight to a planeswalker. So little advantages for the red crew on some of these things, but it did lead us to places where we had to play some different cards to make things really count. One of the cool things is the land we get to use. We didn't really get to use a cool spell land in Dimir because we rarely had a full hand for Seagate Restoration. So it was just -3 life most of the time. And Agadeem's Awakening doesn't work if you're not a creature deck. In red, we get Shattered Skull Smashing to blow up all of the things. So look at the art on the two. It's like, look, there's these floating rocks. And they go into the ground. Who could have seen that coming? Anyway, the cards that you probably might expect. Some people are going to say Fire Prophecy. I go back to the last video I did with Fire Prophecy. I've been off the card ever since. You need the versatility of Planeswalkers in Exile. The option to maybe draw a card is just the kind of thing that probably tricks some people into playing it. And you really only want to run it when you have cards you definitely want to put on the bottom of your library. Most of these are pretty cheap, with our win con being a 6-mana play that can be cycled for cheaper. So I think it's Dragonfire all the way. I am done on that debate in my mind, but you guys can keep debating it. It's fine. Some people love the Eye of Sauron and Fire Prophecy. I get it. I loved it too once. And then I lost to Hello Good Game because I drew 3 of them. And now the feeling is gone. But yeah, cheap removal, counters, neutralize, Essence Scatter, Glimpse of Freedom for the rogues, exile that graveyard, draw those sweet, sweet cards. Punish them for doing what they do. Mazemind Tome. Of course. Why not? And the card that probably surprises you, Ashiok's Erasure. Ashiok's Erasure always is a bit of a sweet card, but extremely expensive for the format. But this deck has a unique situation where it has a lot of cheap removal and interaction. So it usually survives the early game very well. What it struggles with are the reoccurring sources of advantage that things like escape cards provide, and that things like a lot of decks in the format right now rely on one thing to do their card advantage, just one thing. So if you can hit, say, a Feasting Troll King, if you can hit an Into the Story, if you can hit a Kroxa or an Ox of Agonis, you know, these are the kind of cards. An Ugin, you hit these cards. Oftentimes people are left with no win con. A Shark Typhoon, one would say, but you can cycle Shark Typhoon, see? Next level. Next level. So Ashiok's Erasure has a place if your deck has enough cheap removal and a specific weakness. It has trouble going long against the grindy cards that utilize the graveyard or just provide endless card advantage on their own. And this deck can't remove them. There's no Ugin, there's no artifact removal. So Ashiok's Erasure, I've found, has been a really good solution, and not one I would have gone to right away. It took some experimenting and keeping track of what was giving me trouble, and it was a last minute addition that I think is going to make the deck a lot better, and at worst a little bit spicy. So on that note, as Shark Week and a Half continues, and we try to show you the many many uses for the CovertGoBlue Shark token. CoolStuffInc.com, link in description. Let's dive in. Let the Izzet Shark nonsense begin. Into the fire. Call 100, number 607, tangling with a 1 and best of 1 at 644. Rogues? Probably. Essence Scatter will have to go the distance. Let's hope they open on a tap land so we can counter their Thieves Guild Enforcer rather than letting it resolve. Cycling Shark Typhoons is so frustrating against rogues. We may have to do it. Alright, are we gonna miss this land drop? Probably. Alright. Dodged. Opponent thinks that we're talking with emotes. No. Only hedrons in this house. It's salt or it's hedrons. No in between. Just part of the character. Oh, we getting a scry on. Okay. I see how it is. Cycle again. I'll be down to 2 Shark Typhoons in the deck to try to win the game with. I think I'm fine. The opponent's about to make a move. Even if I miss this land drop, I don't think it's the end of the world. But they're not playing any cards. It's gonna cause problems if neither of us do anything. I'll be the first to discard. Ghostly Pilfer. There we go. That's a target. Let's see. We can drown it, or we can scorch it, and it won't get drowned. Let's let that resolve. Actually, if this gets countered, that's a big fail. Should have been an Essence Scatter there. This is a big mistake. Because if something resolved after that, everything was bad. Everything about my hand was bad. It didn't deal with anything on the board. Alright, warm up. No more misplays. The rogues must be defeated. Let's make a 1. We need to hit land. We're now down 2 land to the rogue player. Good lord, that was scary. Alright. Keep untap land. Don't attack here. I don't want them to force my hand with a Thought Thief when they can untap, play Luris, and get it back. That's fine. Down goes a 1/1 Shark. I'm okay with that. Oh my goodness, am I ready to roast some rogues. Oh, am I ready? The only big problem that can happen here is not having the land. Alright. They could resolve some cards, but then we untap and Dragonfire those cards. So let's use the castle. We need to make sure we keep drawing land. Otherwise, we're just going to end up discarding our sweet, sweet cards. And if we ever get ahead of them on land, then we can start countering multiple things a turn. When all breaks down, we will be the ones ahead. Even though the big problem here, we only have 2 Shark Typhoons left in the deck. That's the only win con. If those get milled, it's over. Oh wait, we have Bone Crushers. I just forget about them all the time. Anyway, the only thing we keep is land. Except for maybe Maze Mind Tome. Until we've played some of these cards in our hand. If we end up with like 5 million lands on the field, that's fine. Nothing to get back here. But we still want to fight. Actually, we really want this to get exiled. Let's see if the opponent fights for this Essence Scatter. Let's see if the opponent plays Drown. No? It might just mean Agadeem's Call of the Death Dweller, something like that. I would guess so. Right now, the opponent's into the story, still needs 3 more cards. Thieves Guild. Counter. Yeah, I think they're going to plan to go for an Awakening, which we'll have to neutralize. If they have one more black, they can counter the neutralize, but we can counter the counter. Nope, they don't go for it. Probably a loose scry there. They could have resolved into the story. Oops. But they didn't. No, they did not. Another Pilferer. That's a good Bone Crusher target. And it doesn't have an ETB, so saving Essence Scatter makes sense. There's a Drown. Do we fight? We have to fight at some point. Is this worth the fight? Send the Bone Crusher to the graveyard. Essentially fighting over a 2-for-1. No, these have to stay for Into the Story. Let's fight over the 4-for-1 instead. Alright, it's my turn. They can't cast Into the Story here, so let's scry. 2 Soulseers. I mean, do I just want to draw that much removal? What I want is Glimpse of Freedom. That's what I need. To clean this graveyard. Oh, that's not bad. Alright, so we'll wait till their turn and fight over this Pilferer. This will put us on 7. Alright, they do the Drown. Resolves. Could have tried to lock it out. I think I want to catch them going for extra greed here. Again. Resolves. Okay. Do you think they have Drown number 3? Their hand doesn't have creatures, or hasn't had many creatures. It must have something. Usually that means counters and removal. Gotta be ready for that. The double erasure is looking nice. As long as I hit land, I'm happy. So, because if I can cast more neutralizes and erasures in a turn than they do, I don't think they can beat it. Eventually, I will Ashiok's Erasure their key cards. There's already 2 Drowns gone, but that is a good target. And they can't get rid of the erasure once it happens. Oh yeah. They're going for... Oh, baby. Well, that's the 3rd Drown. Let's just counter that. There's only 1 left, after all. I know they always have it, but there's 4 Into the Stories, and now they're locked out for good. And they say go. They got nothing. So the other thing that we need to lock out is Agadeem's Awakening. I think I'll hold this at least for a minute. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yeah, I have enough mana to play all 3 of my counters. Thought Thief? Wait a minute, is that the first Thought Thief? It is. Shut it down. Shut it all down. Shut it all down. Essence Scatter your own Thought Thief. I can't believe I'm fighting this fight. I'm fighting this fight. I'm doing it. The 4th Drown. Of course. Of course. Of course. All 4 Drown in the locks. Let's see if they have Agadeem's Awakening to get everything back. And maybe I still lose this game. Crab. Oh, nasty. Not a Typhoon, not a Type. Oh no, the 3rd Typhoon. No, not like this. 2 land, of course. Shoulda scryed first. No. Not like this. Not like this. Alright, no land. 4 spells. 3 of them are into the story. Just kidding, but maybe, who knows. Alright, I'll keep this set. I mean, all your drowns are gone. Let's lock out these Thieves Guilds. I'm not letting you mill these. Of one mind. 2 cards. Okay. God, Rogues just doesn't quit. You can handicap them all you want. They just keep going. No land. Shattered Skull Smash. $29 cards. We're really relying on the castles to produce the next Typhoon. Oh, crap. Yeah, I didn't get to block that, did I? Could just let that be and try to find a removal for it. It's a 2/3 that mills me for 2. What else am I going to counter? Agadeems, Agadeems. There's one right there. All right. Bravery. Let's draw first. See what we draw. That's good. So I can let 1 mill resolve. If they hit the Typhoon, this is going to get messy. Okay. They've been holding back 2 of them. I guess we'll use the moment to kill 1. If they Agadeems, I'm going to cry, though. No Typhoon. Okay. 18. No Agadeems. Draw. Make it good. It's okay. It's a very perilous, very, very perilous game. Oh my goodness. Not a Typhoon. Okay, 22 cards. 16 life. This is definitely a mill game. Look at all the Soul Sears. All right, somewhere in here, somewhere in there is the Shark Typhoon. The only one left. And we have to make sure it shows up. No answer here to the Thought Thief either. What is going on? Ah! Draw. There it is. There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we have Neutralize open. Let's go. They don't have any drowns left, remember? Alright, they attack. 2 cards. The 2 glimpses of freedom. Right on top of each other. Alright, we want to hold up Neutralize through the turn. So let this resolve. I know I've only got 17, but I can shut this down from here. I think. I just can't let the opponent Awakening. That's fine. $17 cards. What could they resolve if I tap out? I can't think of anything too good. Let's start making sharks. It's time for a sky full of sharks. Shatter Skull smashing, that can make a huge shark. Alright, my turn. Can also kill off the Thought Thief. Let's attack first, see if there's another thief. That would be a really good thing to ambush. $15 cards. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This shark is going to die anyway, so we'll just keep this easy. It's going to be a 5/5. They're going to have Blood Chiefs, Thirst, Heartless Act, things like that. It's going to be the small sharks that have to get the job done, not the big ones. 26 cards. They are locked out of Into the Story. They are locked out of Thieves Guild Enforcer. They can still play Rune Crab. Alright, we got Neutralizes and Dragonfires coming up. I definitely want those cards. I don't want them to resolve a mill effect and take them from me. Let's scry. We don't want to outdraw our deck now. That's pretty good too. But not what I want. $14 cards in Graveyard, by the way. Believe it or not, we might still get this graveyard small enough to, I don't know, take some of the sting out of their cards. Down to 9. At this point, with what we have coming up, all spells, no lands, we can just fire this off. Start going face. Start going face. End step. Still can't story. You might play a Heartless Act or two. Oh wait, it's not their end step. Wow. I might have just gotten lucky that they didn't have enough black for the Awakening. Wait, did they? No, they didn't. Oh, God. Wow. My finger was too much on the trigger. Down to 10. Stomp your face. Another shark. Sky full of sharks. Bone Crusher Giant. Let's rumble. How many of those cards in your hands are Into the Story? We know it's all 4. Heartless Act. Got him. Fall to 6. Of one mind. Have fun with that. That's game. Beats Rogues! Ashiok's Erasure, not a joke. Well, do we trust the tome? On this channel, we trust the tome. Vessel. Interesting. Going to ignore for now. Priority, red mana. It's red mana. Can't argue too much. We gotta take a bit of pain for it, but... Alright, can't fall much further behind. When you're down 3 creatures to none, and you haven't removed anything with this deck, you're in big trouble. Because we don't play sweepers. Alright, got a scry for the land. Did it. Still bottlenecked on red, though. Apologies. My throat's doing some stuff. I don't think I'm sick. My throat just gets phlegmy. They already played their land. Do you think they have village rights? I think that's very possible. Take it. We have 4 life back from the tome. Let's see what else they do with their turn. Nothing. This way, at least if they have village rights, they don't get to use it this turn. Yep. Sad but true. But we had to get it out of the way, or the Bone Crusher Giants won't hit. So they're a deck full of cheap cards. They're playing stuff from their graveyard. I don't think Neutralize is going to be effective. And we do need that land drop. And we got there. We just barely got there. Now this is okay. Another land? Yes. And one that can kill multiple things. Let's get the other tome down. Get it ticking. The plan, Shark Typhoon. If the opponent takes their time playing a nickel and dime value game, Shark Typhoon goes over the top. This is fine. We'll gain it right back. So draw. Gain 4. Black, unless they have Feed the Swarm, doesn't deal with the Typhoon. So usually it's right to slam it. We'll keep that. Play it as tap land. Thinking. Rankle is a serious consideration. Let's say go, rather than trying to smash these. The plan is to target the Shade. Make them play it again. Demonic Embrace, huh? Okay, the plan is now to target the Vessel, but we can wait a second. Okay, Malakir Rebirth. So, there's 2 ways we can do it. We can let the opponent pay 2 life, and then get this back, and then target it with the Giant, and then we get to keep both Giants. If we respond now with a Soul Seer or a Giant, we lose this Giant, and they don't pay 2 life. Let me show you what I mean. So, hits. Goes to graveyard. Trigger. Card comes back into play. Trigger goes on the stack. This has to be exiled for the opponent to gain the Demon. This is the window where we play another Bone Crusher Giant. They don't get the Demon. We get 2 Giants. The downside is that this is still in the graveyard. They might get it back. Nice. I think. It's going to be hard to hold the mana open. Also, can I play the Shark Typhoon now? I can't. Demonic Embrace, I go all the way down to 1. That is too low for me. This is a graveyard deck, though. I'm going to take this. I don't know if or when it's going to be what I need. But we're going to have it ready to go. I think what we do is we play a Giant, we say go. We play Shatter Skull Smashing tapped. and try to stay ready for what they're going to throw at us. We need a lot of land to run this deck. Can't be holding back, even though they are also removals. Demonic Embrace. Do you think they have another Malachor Rebirth? They could. Let's see what they do. Myra's Grasp, your own shade. Why? Is that a misclick? That feels like a misclick. Let's use this window. That feels like a serious misclick. Let's set this up to gain life if we need to. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, let's keep it. Let's slam it. Shade comes back, maybe? There might also be like Agadeem's Awakening, some reanimation spell here. Alright, it's Null Priest. Null Priest has Menace, that's a headache. Null Priest gets the Vessel, makes a 5/5. We draw a card, game 4. I think we're ahead. It's close though. That's a good set of cards. Let's be aggressive. If you're ahead, be aggressive. We're holding up Ashiok's Erasure to go with these removal spells. Here comes Demonic Embrace. That can resolve. Let them commit to the attack. Stomp your Null Priest. Malachor Rebirth. They pay 2 life. Priest comes back. Doesn't trigger. They just pay 2 life to get a 2/1 back. It's fine with me. Let the damage deal. And then end step to make sure it actually goes through. Take it down. Opponent scoops it up. That's the win. 2 fun matchups so far. Ducking, diving, maneuvering. Kind of magic I like. Steph's at 96% coming in. Coming into battle, the Izzet Shark Typhoon. Turn 1, Ozolith. Oh boy. I don't know what to think. Well, let's bluff some stops. Well, that didn't stop them from playing into my bluffed shock, so a little bit of a fail. Normally, I love to get the tome down and just get it ticking. This card could grow too quickly, though. Let's hold up. Maneuvering around the Ozolith is going to be really hard. We basically can't remove it. I wish I had an Essence Scatter for that. Exile won't keep the opponent from gaining the counters. They are coming in. Let's get rid of the mana ramp. Good Essence Scatter. Important draw. Typhoon's too early. Maybe later. No. The counter magic is important to make sure that the +1/+1 counters don't get on the field to begin with. When it enters the battlefield, put +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 other creatures. Whenever one or more counters are put on Hydra, put a counter on Scourge. 2 other creatures. I think what I can do here is the opponent can target the Scourge, then I can Soul Sear it, then they redirect to the Acolyte, but it's just 1 counter, because the ability doesn't resolve here. This is how we keep counters off the field as much as possible. I'm willing to deal with this 3/4, at least for now. Take the hit, hold up the neutralize, no plays. On your end step, reduce your board to nothing. We held it up because if we didn't hold it up, they might play another creature of some kind. Let's save it for the cards. The cards are what I want in this matchup. We need the counter spells. All the counter spells we can find. Planes. Go. Kind of a death sentence, honestly. You miss a beat there, it's going to be hard to get back in it, as the cards are starting to flow. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Ashiok's Erasure on deck. Another land for the opponent. Their hope slipping away. Let's get aggressive. I know, not a shark condition win con. Disgusting. I understand. But if they can't answer a 4/3, what kind of magician are they? Wildborn Preserver. Doesn't have any counters. If we keep this at a 2/2, we don't really care. Right now we outsize it with the Giant. We just want to counter the things. It says whenever another non-human enters the battlefield. So, as long as we counter the other creatures, we're good. Ooh. That's a card. How many of those do you think they run? Let's lock it down. Because another Elspeth Conquers Death is one of the cards that could remove the Erasure itself. That would not be good. We don't want to lose the Erasure. So this ensures that at least they can't do that. They'll need a different card that removes Erasure. Most decks don't diversify their threats around Ashiok's Erasure. There's only so many good cards in Standard, and the strategy is usually to run as many as you can. Now, if they have a creature that can't be countered, that's scary. That's actually very scary. They're tanking on whether or not to move this +1/+1 counter to the Preserver. The answer is yes. No scries, we're holding on for the card draw. Oh, that's beautiful. That is a lovely draw. Land drop acquired. Pass turn. Come at me, Fox Elf. Let's dance. Luminarch Aspirant. That moves some counters around. Probably a 4 of too. But let's hold Erasure because it's more versatile. It also lets us glimpse or scry. One card left. What do you do with it? I think it's another Elspeth Conquers Death, considering that they held it for a few turns earlier in the game when there were no targets. So now we're digging for Shark Typhoon. I'll do whatever I can to find my Typhoon. There is one sitting on the bottom from much earlier in the game. And remember, we don't shuffle this deck. The order's the order unless the opponent forces it somehow. No Fabled Passage here. The weapon. Can't have that. Holding that erasure for the final target. Opponent on the full rope down. Don't make me touch your Black Lotus. I'll do it. I'll just sit over here and play with your Black Lotus. That I'm savage like that when I'm in the arena. No regard for feelings. No caring about your good time. I strike first, strike hard. No mercy. There's a Typhoon. 4 life, another card. We do not have mana up for the erasure. Hold on to your butts. I don't think it will matter. But you never know in this world. Bassy Cat. Okay. Hopefully they don't have a flash response to this. We keep the counter out of play. They play Shatter the Sky? Let's call that something I did not expect. Nice top deck on the hazard. This will let us take Basri Cat out. And now it all breaks down. There's nothing left to think about. Just smashing, stompings, lootings, pillagings, burnings. Could play the giant, but then we take down Erasure, so let's not. Besides, we get to make plenty of sharks. Another Preserver. And it can be a 3/3. Like before, not afraid. Not the card that's going to beat me. Oh, baby. More sharks, please. CovertGoBlue Shark Token, CoolStuffInc.com. Pre-order Kaldheim. You won't regret it. You might not enjoy the shills, but you'll love the frickin' Shark Token. Air Jaws, baby. Let's go. Game. Sharky Slaughter. And we are back for the post-game wrap-up, and this deck was a lot of fun. The matchups we played had a lot of play to them, and I definitely felt like it felt like the kind of dodge and burn magic of Magic Duels long time ago. That was the name of the Izzet deck in Duels 2014 was dodge and burn, but it always stuck with me. Like, you use the counters to dodge the things you need to dodge and the burn to get rid of the things you need to get rid of, and then eventually here come the Sharks for the win. And it was all that I wanted it to be. The Ashiok's Erasure, speaking of cards that were all that I wanted it to be, really showed up for me. Hitting the end to the story, I just don't think we could have won the game against Rogues without that. The games were long, they were hard, we had to calculate our end game, we had to manage our threats, we had to use our resources responsibly. For me, for a blue mage, an old school control mage, that's Magic the Gathering. So I give a big recommendation to this deck. Is it the greatest deck in the land? Is it the meta breaker? No, it's going to have a few specific weaknesses, but if you are into the control archetype and you haven't played Izzet Shark Typhoon, I think that you will have fun with this. Maybe you want some sweepers. I'm happy without them because I have so much cheap removal. A lot of my lands are cheap removal. So I feel like I don't need it, but I would get it if you want a Cinderclasm and Storm's Wrath, the little red creatures. Believe me, nobody understands that as much as me. So, on that note, remember to get your Shark token by pre-ordering Kaldheim at CoolStuffInc.com. Promo code CGB5 for a discount. Check out the link in the description. And remember that no matter what problems arise in this world, you can probably solve it with some combination of Shark Typhoon and other Magic cards. Thank you for watching this video. As always, I will see you in the next video. You're cool.